If you're going to watch our movies, young and old, the first movie you must begin with is a movie by the name of Amar Akbar Anthony. Non-Indians, let me take you through the plot of this badass Bollywood movie. The year was 1977. Three baby brothers were separated at birth. Because in the 70s, that's just shit that happened every day. You could not find one responsible maternity hospital in all of India. We just treated babies like IKEA products. We unpacked them and threw away the paperwork immediately. Now, these three brothers, one grew up to be a Muslim, one grew up to be a Christian, one grew up to be a Hindu. Muslim fell in love with a Muslim, Christian fell in love with a Christian, Hindu fell in love with a Hindu. Because even in fiction, we shall not dilute the race. It has the greatest cinematic miracle I have ever seen. So check it out. The mom is blind. Now at some point this lady goes to a Sai Baba temple. Sai Baba is like a chain-smoking guru. She prays to his statue. We're gonna pretend like I didn't say that. Fucking stay with me. She prays to his statue. Sai Baba statue's eyes light up with fire, which floats into the mom's eyes, and that chick can see again. Why are we wasting our time with Hinduism, Christianity and Islam? Sai Baba is doing LASIK surgery on a daily basis. What a movie, man. Three brothers who look nothing like each other at all. Nobody ever spoke about this. Not one brother was like, hey mom, how popular were you in college, mom? I mean, I know you're blind, but could you not recognize dads? Could you give him a password or something? He comes into the room like, Marco, you're like Kolo. I don't know, assistant? My career's over, it's fine. The next movie you must watch is a movie by the name of Dil Chahta Hai. This is our first realistic coming-of-age story. Three boys. One gets a job in Australia. One falls in love with an older woman. One exists. The reason I like this movie is it redefined the wedding interruption scene forever. See, in Bollywood, we interrupt weddings because who cares about what the girl actually wants? White people have a clause for this in their weddings, right? At some point, the priest goes, if any man here should object to this union, let him speak now or forever hold his peace. Now, in India, we can't work with the clause because that requires punctuality. So we interrupt a wedding whenever the fuck we feel like it. With the greatest line in cinematic history, Ye shaadi nahi ho sakti. Translation, this wedding cannot happen. Look at the arrogance. Not this wedding should not happen. Not this wedding might not happen. This wedding cannot happen. And nobody ever counters that shit with logic, right? Nobody's ever like, bro, look around. There is a tent and a bride and a groom and a pandit and a fire and vanilla ice cream and chocolate sauce and a pasta station. It's happening, bro. These things do not randomly come together on a Tuesday for no reason. That's the reason I love this movie. It simplified it so much. The boy, Amir, shows up at the girl, Preeti's wedding. Amir is like, hi. And Preeti's like, hi. And then her fiancé Ayub shows up, right? And Amir is like, and he stops. And then they leave. And the movie's over. Who the fuck are you, Iron Man? What happened? I don't know. It was so efficient. Just vote for Congress, bang the girl. That's it. It's